Hello everyone, Legend Jim here, and in today's video, I want to cover a topic I've been seeing asked around a lot in the community. With the upcoming first SP Hinata Shoyo, I thought this would be the perfect time to take a deeper dive into what SP characters actually are, and how they differ from normal SSR and ultra rare characters. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of their differences, similarities, and why SP characters exist in the first place. Before we get into SP characters, let's take a quick trip back to the early days of the Japanese Fly High servers. At launch, the game released with most of the SR and SSR characters we know and love, from the four schools, Karasuno, Nekoma, Dateko, and Awa-Josai. Some players, myself included, noticed something strange about it though. A few select characters, even our SSR, only had their practice versions. I'm referring to SSR Kageyama, Oikaga, and Kuro. This was odd because practice versions were normally reserved for SR characters, which hinted that something bigger was planned for the future. A few weeks later, with the introduction of more schools, ultra rare characters finally arrived. This gave us characters like Ushijima, Bokuto, and the Narizaki twins. At the same time, all those SSR practice characters received new and improved ultra rare versions, featuring higher stats, new abilities and animations, and different bonds. Later on, we got the final wave of ultra rare characters, including Hoshimi, Hirugami, Sakusa, Komori, and Kageyama. At that point, most major characters were already in the game, and many players started wondering, what's next? The community wouldn't have to wait too long though. Following the release of Ultra Rare Kageyama, the game introduced an entirely new rarity, SP characters, starting with Hinata and Kenma. Many have followed since then, and I personally believe that eventually every SSR and Ultra Rare character will receive an SP version. So now let's answer the big question. What exactly is an SP character? To keep it simple, SP characters are revamped versions of existing characters, like a fresh coat of paint, usually reserved for SSRs, although Ultra Rare characters aren't exempt from this treatment either. SP characters usually share a theme together, like the upcoming Cherry Blossom, Winter Break, Halloween, etc. Along with that, they have new abilities, bonds, and have stats that rival or even surpass Ultra Rare characters. Unlike Ultra Rare characters having 2 to 3 skill animations, however, SP characters are only limited to 1. In some cases, SP characters also specialize in something completely different compared to their previous versions, and that's where things get interesting. Now that we've cleared the air and you have some idea of what an SP character is, let's take a look at a few examples between SSR, Ultra Rare, and SP characters, and quickly point out their similarities and differences. Covering every character in one video would take way too long, so instead, let's look at a few key examples to understand how they work. Let's start with Hinata, since he's first in line. His current SSR, as we all know, specializes completely around quick attacks, and even semi-depends on a quick type setter to maximize his potential. However, the new upcoming SP Cherry Blossom Hinata has a new receiving ability, thus giving him the Receiving Specialist tag. He still grants buffs to his teammates, and now doesn't outright need a quick setter to be at his best. He also has new bonds, and is overall a fresh take on the character. Now let's take a look at Ultra Rare characters who received SP versions. There are several options to choose from, but I'll briefly cover Ushijima and Bokuto. SP Ushijima still focuses on being a power attack cannon, focusing on raising his awareness and making critical plays, keeping his serve ability, and featuring a main ultimate that mimics his Ultra Rare Resonance 2 counterpart, being able to reduce its own cooldown. As for Bokuto, he trades his serve tag and ability for a receiving one, and gets a reimagining on how team morale affects his teammates and his own ultimate skill ability. I know a few of you might be dying to take a peek at these new SP characters, but unfortunately I'll have to cover them in full in another video, as to not overcomplicate this one. Lastly, let's talk about some special cases and in my opinion the best use case for a character to receive SP treatment. At the moment, 2 SR characters, Sugawara and Kunimi, have received SP versions, and in my eyes this is the main reason why SP versions should exist in the first place, as they turn fan favorite characters who are locked behind SR variants and turning them into viable options for your main team. Sugawara becomes a block type setter, as surprising as it might sound, while still focusing on granting team buffs and stamina. As for Kunimi, he still involves around receiving and attacking, with his abilities reflecting really well from his usual gameplay in the anime. One major benefit of the upcoming positionless update is that we can use these new SP characters to make school bonds easier to activate. Activating the Aoba Josai school bond, for example, was a nightmare up until now, since they don't have at least 4 SSR characters, and having an SR really drags down the overall team power. But with it, we can have both SP Kunimi and SSR Kentaro for example. As for my final thoughts, I think overall SP characters are an okay addition to the game. SR and even some SSR characters who were made early into development benefit a ton from having a new revamped version, and helps bring them back into the meta and future teams. Ultra rare players getting SP versions is a huge letdown and a tad bit redundant if you ask me, since it takes away what it means to be an ultra rare character in the first place. Also, the looming threat of having your SSR or ultra rare character replaced by an SP counterpart makes players hesitant to even get many of their characters in the first place, in fear of being swallowed by the upcoming stronger meta ones. It's still okay if you have invested in many SSR or ultra rare characters, as they will still outperform many Tube 0 SP ones, but power creep is unfortunately unpreventable. That's everything I gathered to share about SP characters, and I hope now you have a much better understanding of them and what to expect. That's all from me. If you enjoyed the video, please show your support with a like, and even subscribe if you haven't. Thank you, and take care.